Mm, mm. For some odd reason, it doesn't. It's weird again. No, I don't know what's going on with
Okay.
it.
Roughly. If
Mhm. Oh. Oh, I don't know if I that is. Hmm. What's up, Slingston? That's a self enjoyer, basically. Yeah. I don't know. Well, it's mostly I just don't care to work with trade the way they want us to work with trade. I hate having to stop what I'm doing and like forcing other players to stop what they're doing to fucking just try to get an item. But I don't necessarily mind farming the transfigured gems. I know other people don't like doing it, but I mean, it is what it is. What's up, Slinkster? How's work? Mood, honestly. Mood. Yeah, that's work. That's work. You're working out your gotcha commitment skills, honestly. Is there like a new event on or new story or what? Starting to level all the 4 stars and build them. Crazy. Actually insane. Actually insane. Like 3 weeks before adventuring? Oh, character? Bro, I'm so out of touch with Star. I keep telling myself I'm gonna get like at least leisurely back into it, and I just never do. Never do. Fucking all that dialogue. Much. I think I'll stick with my Granblue where I get a skip button that just gives me the TLDR. I do have what is it? Unite and fight. Fucking Guild Wars. I think like next week. What's today? Yeah, it starts next week. Like technically, I should be trying to grind Metatron and like the light raids, but my crew's not competitive anyway. Even though I need to get ready for Relink, because I'm assuming the new characters should be not next week, but maybe the week after, or whenever Guild Wars ends. I doubt they'd be crazy enough to drop them at the same time as Guild Wars. Have a passage. Like I like the combat system for Star Rail. Honestly, it's like one of my favorites for turn-based. Like a turn-based gotcha game. Definitely like really cool. It's just too much fucking reading. Not even reading, too much fucking clicking. I don't get why MiHoYo has such a vitriol hate for adding like a skip dialogue button. I remember the what is it? There's somebody in the Grand Blue Fantasy Relink Reddit once that was just like, bro, why can't Genshin have this? And they talked about how like it had the skip feature that would also give you like the TLDR of what happened if you decided to skip it. So then if it piques your interest, you could just actually like watch the thing or read through it. because it's kind of funny because I feel like because I remember a lot of people talking about how like I don't know if Mihoyo ever did like an official announcement, but I remember talking about oh it's because they took so much time to like do the story. I'm like so does everybody else. And as someone who generally skips story and gotcha, there's been a couple times for Granblue that I'll read the synopsis and I'll be like, wait, what? And I'll like, because like with Granblue, the cool thing is you can hit skip and then it gives you the synopsis. And then if you choose to, you can hit cancel and then go back and actually like see the stuff. Like there's been times that there've been like, there's like a mystery individual that gets revealed. And then it's like, they'll be like, oh, so and so shows themselves. And it's like, oh shit, what? And then you just like, hit cancel and you go back to see what they look like. I think this one's not that good. This one might be interesting. Two perpendicular lines. I'm gonna take it. And I did buy extra green gems. I'm doing this for fucking Bama setup, and I have gotten like plenty of others. Like I got the new tornado just transfigured gem, which I want to try. Which for some reason I thought it was blue, but it's not. So I sorted those for no reason. I also love how I can just do that. And just leave that in there. See you later. I also don't know where my wisdom scrolls went. I haven't used that many. I should have like 30 of them. I have like 15. Oh, because I bought the skill gems. Right. Explains a lot. Never mind. Understand. Understood. Carry on. I forgot about the skill gems. I've been buying the cheap ones that only cost wisdom scrolls to get. For transfigure gems stacking. I forgot that. I've bought like 16 of them. Yeah, so there we go. I had 30. Bought 16. Yeah, I don't know, man. I had decent hopes for Righteous Fire. I think I'm just too dumb to play Righteous Fire. Either that or it's just the league mechanic. There was definitely a couple times I got fucked over because I just like would click my way through the story and not pay attention, and then something would be like convert damage to X element or 300 or like the fucking the one that sucks is the crit one. Holy. When you get the crit one on like one of those range mobs that just shoots a bunch of projectiles, that shit sucks. All right, I wanted to. Time to read the what we're working on shenanigans. All right. Oh, they're gonna make it where it no longer costs to turn the corpse into a coffin, and that you can do it like while you're in the map. Interesting. Well, it's kind of interesting because I saw people going either way on that. There were some people I saw that wanted to be worth more than one chaos, and some people that were just like, one chaos is too much for a coffin, for itemizing the thing for trade. Doesn't affect me any. I don't plan on selling any corpses. Increasing the amount of collectible corpses and all is dropping relative to difficult. Good. The offlane one's actually I'm more excited for than the corpse one. Because I honestly think the all flame part is like the actual winner for this league mechanic because of it brought back like tattoos and omens, and it's a great way to like get more currency for like for everything really. Like in all honesty, I like the all flame mechanic. It's probably the only thing I like about this league. Being able to just stack a map with like a specific type of monster so you can get a lot of currency from it. That's actually really good. I really like that. Because I have a couple of Abyss ones. And I've had a couple of the whatchamacallit, a couple of well, I've used a couple of the expedition monster ones to get some currency, like the expedition currency. Like I honestly think that's a really good system. That's something I actually want them to bring back at some point somehow. But I doubt it. I'm pretty sure that's one of those like league mechanics we'll never see again. Or if we see it again, it'll be like in another league used in a different way. Oh no, I'll be adding new packs that are more rewarding. Sick. I honestly think rather than the crafting side of things, they should play more to the all flame ember side of things. Because crafting in Path of Exile has always been particularly complicated to understand all the intricacies of it all with like weighted mods and shit like that. Like to the point that even like even me who has like close to 1,000 hours in this game, I don't really understand crafting all that much. Like I know more than someone who's just relatively new or even like only like 200 or 300 hours into the game, but I don't understand it to the level of like to make like a good god tier item. Or aka an item I would need if I wanted to kill Ubers. Oh, then we can. Oh, they're making it so we can select a base type. Winning. Winning. I don't mind like the crafting, like personally. It's just that it's extremely like complicated, right? To kind of figure it out from the ground up. Even with the videos, like I watched so many videos on it and I still have no idea what the fuck to do with any of it. But I think it's cool. Like I like it. I like essence, like fucking around with like essence and harvest and like trying to like get a pretty good weapon and stuff. The armor today? No, I didn't. I didn't get to see much. I only got to lurk a little bit at the beginning. What? What'd you get on it? Yeah, because like for me crafting, it's like I can craft I have a decent grasp on crafting like a pretty okay weapon, or at least like understanding how to craft a weapon, and then like rings, like chaos rings, which are really easy because you just harvest craft those. But in regards to like everything else, though, it's a little some of it goes over my head a little bit. But I think that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing, personally. I know there's a lot of people that they think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. That like there's really good depth to the crafting system. I just don't think that it's a good thing if an entire league mechanic is kind of like, well, you need to understand how the crafting system works, which people have devoted thousands of hours to figure out how it works, you know? kind of deal. That's what I don't like. That's why I think the all like they should lean in more to the all flame embers side of the league mechanic, because I think that's like easier to give for like casual and like, you know, not like super nitty gritty uber farming players, because that's a bit more like easier to understand. Like, oh shit, I want tattoos. Let me just stack a bunch of the tattoo mobs in this map, like that kind of thing. Because like for instance, I have yet to make something with the Necropolis crafting that's like any good. On this juicer arm, you see all the text from. Thanks for that. Armor is unethical as fuck. Holy, bro. Thanks. You need to look like 6 ways before crossing a street. That had at least taken some of your actual survivability luck. Full graveyard. I mean, I guess at least worth, right? That's cool. Like, I think the graveyard thing is cool. It's just that, like again, I think the crafting thing is cool. I think having a really in-depth crafting system with lots of ins and outs, really cool. It gives people something to, you know, a reason to like get currency more than just to like trade and stuff like that. But when like the big part of the league mechanic, right, is that, and it's a part of the game that like not a lot of people understand. Like it's pretty rough, right? Like for instance, like I had to watch a video where someone's like, yeah, if you want something, you should go for like increase that specific modifier and then decrease a bunch of the other modifiers to like try to guarantee to get the one you want. And I was like, oh fuck. Like that kind of thing, right? The base thing is nice. Well, yeah, but I feel like Harvest, or like, cause like I did Harvest, right? I did Harvest. That was one of the leagues. Like that was the league on one of the times where I was like, after I took a break from PoE when I came back, was Harvest League. I thought Harvest League was sick because it was the juice, right? Like it was really like, in my opinion, yeah, there was depth to it, but it was also like easy for like basic crafting, right? I'm like, I want a fire modifier on this thing. I just go to the bench and I'm like, reforge fire. Like, you know, I didn't have to go and find a specific juice that specifically gave me fire modifiers, and then have to find another juice that then makes cold modifiers scarcer. Like, oh bro, I was part of the Excel finding. Like, trust and believe. It's like, sir, I was in that group of people where we were Excel spreadsheeting. Like, bro, that's like, I'm gonna say it. People didn't like it. I thought it was great. I loved just taking a break from farming maps and just sitting in my fucking garden and trying to set that shit up. Like it was, for me, it was such a zen moment. I was like bonsai gardening almost. Just like putting on my plants, making sure they're where they need to be. Put my little juicer nodes here and there. Put this like, bro. For me, that was relaxing as fuck. I saw so many people so mad about it, and I was always just like, relaxing as shit. Nice little break from mapping. Just putting all my shit down and just come deal with it later. I liked it. I liked it. It's just, but you know, but there was more attached to it, right? Because it wasn't just like the juice, right? You had like Washabi and all the other stuff you had to do. You had the bosses and stuff. Like you had layers to it. Well, yes, it was a crafting league. I feel like it had a plenty of other stuff to go for it. And this one, it's like I was expecting, right, there to be some corpses that when you bury them, you summon like a boss or some shit, right? Like I was expecting the guy to be like this fucker who's just like, yeah, he's burying corpses so he can gain this power to summon like some sort of like fallen kingdom shenanigans, you know, some shit like that. But instead, it's like, no, we're just burying corpses, and it's like the craft stuff, and I'm like, oh, a little anticlimactic. Oh, this is the new one people were talking about. I'm gonna grab this just because I heard that it like people are saying it's pretty good. I've seen a couple builds for it that I might try one. Because like I didn't play synthesis, but from what I've heard is that synthesis was really shit at the beginning, and then they made it really good with a lot of the changes. And then harvest, like, well, I mean it's a core mechanic now, and honestly, like I think the harvest mechanic is still pretty good. It was a bit convoluted with the whole seed thing early on and stuff like that, but I still think it was pretty good. But like, and I think like, cause like honestly, I think it still was like I can't speak for synthesis since I didn't play it, but like for harvest, it like yeah, it had a like a high cap for people who really knew how to nitty gritty craft things for it, but it also had a level where if you're dumb like me, you could still use it to make something really good. For that level, for like your level of what you're used to dealing with. Like it didn't take a lot of brain knowledge to know how to make good chaos rings in harvest. Because you'd literally just go, okay, I need this juice, I need an amethyst ring, and I need to just reforge chaos. Boom, done. Easy. Like that's what I mean. Like specifically for Necropolis, I think it like it's not bad that it like swings into like the more nitty gritty side of crafting stuff with the whole like weight modifiers and stuff. But at the same point, I think it like put a little too much emphasis on it. Or at least like well, in my opinion, they put too much emphasis on it. I really like the all flame system, honestly. I think that system's like really cool. Where you can get a pack and then just, put a pack in the map to guarantee something. Like that's pretty cool. Like that's why I want them to expand more on that. Because I did the tattoo one. I did the I think it was the Namaho tattoos. And it actually spawns Calm, like from Toda. Like he actually spawns as one of the packs. Or at least I had him spawn in one of the packs. And I thought that was really cool. Like just having stuff like that was really cool. Which is why I think like that's kind of should have been more of like the focal point in my opinion. Good. Well, I mean the end game, like it's good end game if you understand it though. It's gonna be better now that you can choose what base, right? Because that's the problem is I forged some gloves to try to replace my gloves. Well, actually, no, I think I did replace. Yeah, I replaced my gloves with them. These gloves are terrible because they're on an energy shield base. I needed them to be armor, but I had no choice in the matter. But I still used them because they were just like resistance wise, they were like that much of an upgrade over the gloves that I was wearing. Well, I mean, you can say yeah, but like for instance, like harvest. If you don't like, let's say you don't understand like the super ups and downs of harvest. Harvest still had like end game things to work on, right? You had the divination card pack recipes. You have like there's other things that aren't inherently like difficult to understand that still enable a player who's like, maybe you're hunting for a mage blood or something, and you just want to gamba the stacks or something like that. Like, like what all I'm saying is that like it's too much. It leans a little too much to like the nitty gritty players, right? And even then, those guys don't like it because like that's the problem is they don't like it either because if you look at like YouTube, like I've seen like 6 YouTube videos, like just the titles recently that all of them are just like not impressed, like definitely needs work, like like it's at a point where the well it's not even Doom posters, like it's people who like they constantly play Path of Exile and they give like good critiques. It's just that it leans too heavily into the upper end of the crafting thing is the thing. They're just like, there was too much. To be fair, a lot of the critique is getting adjusted, right? Like, for instance, one of the big complaints was that you couldn't choose the base, and then you had to use the dexterities, like basically the attribute ones, to kind of like manipulate what base it could be, which then means that's graves that you have to give up for for that stuff, which I don't technically think is a bad thing. But now they're making where you can choose the base, like so stuff like that. Because like a lot of them did talk about how like synthesis was made better and harvest like honestly aside from the whole planting thing really wasn't all that bad. Like to be fair, harvest what I saw a lot of was people just being annoyed at like that there was like an efficient way to plant stuff, which to be honest, fair enough. And then there was other people that just didn't like how much time they had to spend outside of playing the game to play Farmerville, which fair enough. All right, like if you want to play a farming game, you'd go play a farming like a game where you have to like plant and harvest things. You'd go play that, not Path of Exile. I just thought it was cool because it was. I treated it as a little mental reset. But I just mean that like again like because like in Harvest it was like once people get like because at least like when I played they didn't do a whole lot of changes to Harvest outside of like difficulty and I think like how much juice stuff gave and stuff like that. And then they kind of like worked on the efficiency thing, but it was just like I saw a lot of people like complaining about Harvest, but then I think like it really like tamped down when people realized that there was like a boss fight locked into it and all that, and like there was a lot of like other stuff that you could get. So I don't know. It's just a case like I don't think it's bad. Like I'm not in the camp of people being like, "Oh, it's such a dog shit like league." I wouldn't say it's like a dog shit league, but I definitely think that they kind of missed the mark on a couple things. Oh, we're not getting like uh we're not getting the fucking mirror arrow. Like the whole reason I'm even doing this run for the Bama setup, but I'm getting a lot of good uniques along the way. I have a core raid, and now I have this, and getting a decent amount of uniques. So I'm not overly complaining. But yeah, like I have like GGG's been is usually pretty good at. I think the only league I've ever played that I don't think they've ever been able to salvage it, but that's because it was very much a just very you could tell it was very low effort like low budget league put together was Crucible. Cause like Crucible honestly was such a shit show. Like if you like outside of like what the two or three like crazy builds that people found, like there was nothing exciting about Crucible. Honestly, like there just wasn't anything exciting about Crucible. I got so bored of Crucible, I didn't even see the. I didn't even get the special like farm play it long enough to get the special like fucking map thing to like put stuff on the uniques because I just was just like this league's kind of whatever. And that's a league that I know that I remember like even at the end people were just like wow this league kind of just sucked. Like this league has potential, but it's just like it's a case of like I think it's just a case of they were like there was so much shit they wanted to change with like the core game itself, right? With the Uber changes, the tier 17 maps, the nerfing of the skills, the complete overhaul of the scarabs, like stuff like that. That I think it caused a couple things to kind of like that I feel like would have been no brainer to fly under the radar. Like I personally think that like with the way GGG is, where they play their own game a decent amount, like there's no way that if they had fully focused on the league mechanic, that nobody would have been like, what are we gonna do about the bases, right? Or at the very least, been like, okay, there's a corpse, because I mean there is some, right? Like there's the Vermilion Ring ones. So it was really weird that there wasn't anything for like the armors and weapons. Because like I was watching what Alakizer, like who was doing his like graveyard craft for a bone shatter axe, and it ended up just rolling on a flesh ripper base, which basically makes it useless to bone shatter. Well, not completely useless, but like it's easier to just pick up another one and like pick up what like an actual base you could use and just roll with it. So it's just like you know like there's no way they don't have enough understanding of their own games to like kind of have a for the thing that wouldn't have at least something added there, or at the very least they probably would have explained away for the bases. But like with the way they were focusing on the suffixes and the prefixes, like I could feel that it was a bit of I think it was just a bit of an oversight on their part of like, oh shit, right, bases, because obviously they thought about bases. They put vermilion rings in, which are a pretty rare drop. Well, quote unquote pretty rare drop. I think I got like 6 of them in what little I played last league. 25 times, jeez Christ, bro, I'd lose my mind. Yeah, I've had at least 2 things that I crafted that I was just like the base was basically unusable. Like there was just no using it, unfortunately. Like I had an armor base that rolled the evasion energy shield one, and I was like, I can't use that. Like that's like almost all of my armor just gone on a build that doesn't evade. So like I couldn't use it, even though the stats on it were pretty good. Like it wasn't like super perfect, but it rolled decent enough better than what this had been. Actually, no, I think it was like the armor before this, which was at like I think that had like 400 armor before I found this one, and then just this just dropped like this, and then I just crafted some more fire resistance on it. I don't know. I'm sure they'll manage somehow. Cause like for instance, cause I mean they technically do have something for like the more casual players. Cause I don't know how like common it is for the unique ones, right? The corpses that when you bury the whole group of them, you get the unique version. Like you get the unique. I don't know how rare those are in maps and stuff like that. I also don't know how good any of them are. All I've heard of people talk about are the Uber uniques recently. Like what is it? There's the Uber unique where I think it was I don't remember if it was any ailment or elemental ailment. Uh Makes it count as the mob is moving. Basically like something good for bleed. Stuff like that. That's the one I've been hearing people talk about recently. Which is pretty nutty. Alright, let's see. What else is on this list? Like the base type, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, so that was the point then. It seems like the ones that let you influence the strain, like the stat, was what they were planning on having people use to kind of influence what they get. But I don't think that works for weapons very well. And obviously, the special base types still require their corpses, like the Stygian Vice. Marini Veracraft. That's good. Oh, they're gonna make it where now like will be like the highest tier. Like instead of being like 200 or 500% increased chance of X modifier, it will now always be 500. That's really good. They're now compressing the modifier rating one into one corpse. That'll be nice just to not have to have a shit ton of stuff in there. Control F will immediately just let you type in search. Crafts by their type instead of by level. That'll be nice. And then the crafts that reroll sockets and links have been significantly buffed. Alright, that's pretty good. but like the changes kind of like get to what I was like kind of talking about, right? Where it's just like as because like it's like as me, I didn't understand like the whole nuance of like 200% to 500%, like that kind of shit, like how it actually affected the weights, because I still don't fully understand like the weight system like numerically. So like imagine like a newer player who's only played for like 100 hours, like this shit would just go way over their head. And it's just like, you know, stuff like that needed to be toned back. So the fact that you no longer have to like worry about which, like, I think it's this way, where you no longer, you know, there is no 200 to 500. Now it's just max, like what it is. And you just go, okay, I want fire, life. There, done. Like that kind of thing. Like it's just a simplification thing. Like I kind of understand why they had the tiers, but I think it's one of those things where it's just like, again, you kind of like thought a little too in depth with it, right? Sometimes you got to dumb shit down a little bit. Lessons more in some cases. In this case, was definitely one of them, because like there were so many videos I watched that it was just like they're just like there's no point in even using anything less than the 500%. And it's just like, you know, at that point then it begs the question from other players of like, then what was the point of adding anything less than the 500% if it's not even worth, right? Like stuff like that. And then compressing the modifier like rating increase into one, instead of just having to have like one for fire, one for cold, one for whatever, like I think will be a lot nicer. But that's that I definitely feel is more for just like item bloat things. Oh my, forgot to change my whatever. Suck it up. Too far north. Wait, how did I go here and then end up? What? Did it blink me backwards and I just didn't notice before? Or did I double back on accident? Oh no, I think. Oh no, I think I know. I ran this layout enough to know that I'm not. I don't have to go all that high for that. I'm more curious about. They did make a mention in the Zizarin interview that apparently there's gonna be some change. There might be potentially some changes to melee, or at least like they might like bump up like the in the works stuff for it. I have to rewatch the part of that. Like Zizarin asked some really good like questions. Also, apparently the reason why Dead didn't really get like extra nerfed when they nerfed everything else is apparently because they just didn't have enough time. Which, to be honest, fair. Fair. Like this like league, honestly, so far, like some of the stuff just feels a case of they just tried to do a whole lot of things that they've been wanting to get done, and some things kind of just probably didn't have enough time to kind of like have someone be like, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should probably do this instead. Which happens. That's normal. I wonder if there's any gonna be any like super nutty uniques from the like the league specific ones, not the Uber ones. Oh, something that was really cool is that they were talking about potentially like doing something with ritual where it like allows them to bring back like the wildwood like boss fight or something like that, which I think would be really cool. Like it wasn't like a planned thing. Like Zizarin, like I think asked a question about bringing back like the gem, like what was taken gem, and I think in response to that, Mark was just like, oh, maybe we could like fit it into ritual or something, which would make sense. Like being able to do something with the wildwood or stuff like that would be pretty cool. So I'll split second leak about the first descendant. If it's not a release date, I do not think it's that game's dead to me until that comes. Didn't read all of that. What did you? What'd you get to read? Shaking my head. Shaking my head. You missed it. That's the whole reason I had the picture. That was just doing it just so that way people would look at the picture and they'd be like, oh shit, delete. Nobody saw the release date. Nice. So much. Oh, trigger my head. All right. What build did you play, bud? You told me you were playing PoE recently. What build did you go for? Or like, what'd you start as? Yeah, sure, if you want. Oh, with the transfigured version? Yeah, that's the transfigured gem. All right. If I do you have the skill gem yet or no? Oh, okay. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm farming transfigured gems for some builds I want. If you didn't get it yet, I was gonna keep an eye out while I'm running these. Super weird but fun. That's good. How do you farm them? This so in Labyrinth, when you run Labyrinth to get your ascendancies, which are these points here, right? Like you see I'm a chieftain, these are my ascendancies. At the very end, there is a divine font, which is to the right of the treasure chest, that will give you an option to transfigure a gem of that color into one of the transfigured versions of that color. So like if I put a green one in, it'll change it into one of the transfigured green gems, right? Stuff like that. And so you basically, it's just RNG. It gives you a selection of 3. Like it'll transfigure it into like, basically it'll be like, all right, here's 3 gems. Which one do you want out of the pool? And then if you don't want it, you don't take any of them and you run it again because the use gets consumed whether you transfigure it or not. And then the higher labs you do, the more chances you get, or it like gives you a better like transfigure craft in the vein of. Oh, this one I hate frostbling. I could probably do that on leaves though. Got the electric arrow one, yeah. Yeah, so it's just you just run lab, and then once you get to the end, you get the little font at the end of it, and then depending on what color of transfigured gem you want, that's the color of any skill gem, like actual skill gem. Support gems don't work, and vol gems also don't work, but it has to be just a regular skill gem of that color that you then put into it, and then it'll just roll it into one of 3. And then if you do it on like I think the 4th lab, you can get an you get like, cause like the higher, like I think it's starting at the, I don't remember if it's off of the 3rd or the 4th lab, that you can use it multiple times. You can use the divine font more than once, and it'll just roll whatever option you use into a different option. But there's one option that's really good that makes it so that it will, if you take like for instance lacerate has 2 transfigure gems, if you put it in there, it'll roll it into one of the lacerate transfigures, which is really nice. But I am too lazy to be running that one. So, and I mean, I think most people are. Most of us just run the level 31 because it's really easy, and you just like blitz through it really quickly without giving a shit. Yeah, the first level. I mean, there's no tutorial level, tutorial version. There's just right normal lab. I forget what it is. It's like normal lab, hard lab, merciless lab, uber lab, whatever. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter what like level you run it at. Like generally for transfigured gem farming, most people run it on like either the 1st or 2nd one, depending on what build they're like the level of their build they're doing it at. Because it's just like, so yeah, you do it here, transfigured. Oop. All right, so we got 1. It's not the one. It's not like the super important one. I need the blink arrow. Wait. Fuck, no, this is the wrong one. This is the mirror arrow of prosmetic. I need the mirror arrow of bombarding. Son of a bitch. I need the blink arrow version of this one. I guess I'll just leave it in there because you can. I'm thinking you can use a transfigured gem to reroll for another one. No, awakened gems is something else. That drops from Ubers, I think. I think it's like Uber Maven. But awakened gems are completely different. That's like end game content. You need a pretty good build to farm for those. If you want to do it yourself. Well, you don't need like 6 of them. You can probably do just fine with the normal one. But it's something to work towards. You can trade for them too if you're in trade league. You can just farm currency for it on your build and then just trade for it. But awakening gems are usually pretty expensive. But your build, if it's a decent build, it should have like, basically it should either give you options of what to run if it's not just like running the regular version of those gems, which is usually what it is. Didn't send me the build. I'll look. I'll take a look at it to see if like, because if the build itself isn't like great, like the guide, I can see if I can find one that's a little better, or at least like look for one that could probably give you like some options. Because there's always there is no build that only works with your awakened gems. It'll be like less powerful, obviously, because that's the point. But I have yet, or at least I have yet to see a build. I'll rephrase that. I have yet to see a build that does not work without the awakened versions of the support gems. There probably are some out there, to be honest. Affliction. Wait, Bun, which do you? I only see two awakened gems in this one, and they both have normal versions. Burning damage and uh, pretty sure all of these have regular versions. Empower is not an awakened gem. That's something else. Same thing with enlighten. Those are different. You have ways to get those outside. Like I've gotten an empower before from divination cards. But empower is definitely like super end game stuff. Where the they have a POB link? Who the fuck wrote this build? This is not like written out for easy to understand. Honestly, it's me, and it's kind of like hurting my brain. Okay, so Vol is from you get it one of two ways. You can either use a Vol orb, which are the red orbs that drop on the ground, that potentially has a chance, or and the better way of doing it is Vol side areas, which are like the red portals that you'll see while you're doing the campaign, or when you're mapping, you can use one fragment to just open a Vol side area, and those always have a chance. Do not use the Vol orb. Do not use the Vol orb. You'll that's just don't. I just said it because it's an option. What you want to do is you want to look for Vol side areas, and if you can't get any, when you get to mapping, which is the end game, you can use a Dawn fragment. Like basically, I'll show you here when I get to the end. Like I have some in the stash that I can show you. But there's a fragment that you can put in your map device that will always open a Vol side area, and then you can just farm those for Vol gems, which is the actual way to do it. Like you don't want to use the Vol gems for that. The Vol gems are used for many other things. But yeah, all four of those, as far as I understand, like all have regular versions. I'll show you. You might not have access to them right now, depending on like where you are in the campaign. Because if you haven't done Act 6 and done the Lilyroth quest, then it'll be kind of a pain to get some of them if they're not available on your class. Did you clear the beach? Like it's like one of the very first quests you get in Act 6 when you talk to Lily after she drops you off. Okay, so you'll be fine then. You can go. Have you unlocked your hideout? That's a second one, important one. Mostly for sanity, so well, it just makes things a lot faster. You don't technically have to have it like unlocked for accessing Lily, but it just makes it easier. There's a dev stream. Yeah, it's probably to uh talk about the changes they have. Oh, you're talking about the first the Descendant one. When's the dev stream? I'm assuming the dev stream has a date attached to it, or is when they're gonna give the date. Because they said like I think they gave like summer as like the general release date, and that is technically a couple months right now. Lame. With a chat text bot, let's go. Welcome to the footer. Such a weird. I mean, you did say. I think you were the one that said no that they're known for just randomly like doing shit. I don't know with no announcements. Oh shit, overgrowth. That's nice. Such an odd way of promoting the game. True. All right. Well, you were talking about we were talking about the awakened stuff and the vol gems. So the vol gems come from vol side areas. I'm too lazy to run through a map to see if I can find one, but you'll see them as like red portals on the map, and they'll have their own like extra modifier on it. In regards to your talk about the awakening gems, all awakening gems have a regular version, as far as I know. I don't think there's one that doesn't. And so what you do is you have Lily. Lily sells every single skill gem in the game, bar a handful, like portal and stuff like that, which you get through div cards. So what you do is you come here, and like for instance, one of your gems was awakening burning damage support. Enlighten and empower the two she doesn't sell. That you have to get through divination cards or drops. I can tell you that right off the rip when I looked at the build. The empower one, like the guide itself should have a replacement for empower. That's like a super end game fucking skill gem. Like most builds don't run empower because it's not a reliable get, and even then it has to be level 4. Discipline. Oh yeah, discipline. Empower is gonna be another one. Can't get. It's right here, bud. No, it's not discipline. It's empower. Yes, apparently you are. You can also just type it in. There's a search feature at the bottom whenever you're looking for stuff. Now, the only gems that you shouldn't be able to buy from Lily is the Empower support gem, which, again, he should have. Well, actually, both of those should. Well, actually, Enlighten, I think, is fine at like level 3. But Empower, like, is useless without being level 4. So there should be like a like they should have an option, bro. This fucking oh dog shit. Who the fuck wrote this? Where's the POV? Jesus, get out of my Give me a POB a sec. Yeah, yeah. This is available in basically everything for this, so you can just like type down here what you need. Like for instance, right? Like you'll need burning. You type this, and there's the burning one. Like all the awakened gems have a regular version, which is empower and enlighten. And enlighten are the two that you're gonna have to like get through other means. But he should have like other options. Don't see where he has like the different levels. Like in an actually good guide, not in this. Well, I'll refrain from calling it a pile of hot garbage. It's just not explaining things the way it should. In a good guide, it should tell you what like support gems you'll use as you progress through your thing. Because enlighten and empower are very, very end game support gems. Like you like half like I think like most builds I run like don't use them because most players don't get them. I don't see, bro. POB, dude. POB is like 10 times easier to fucking navigate for me than this. Whatever they got going on here. Yeah, it like don't worry about empower and enlighten. To be honest, like you're probably gonna be running on a 5 link for a while anyway. Because 6 links are kind of a pain in the ass to get. Also, the fact that he doesn't give like something as an option for Skin of the Loyal is, who wrote this? Because they're kind of not great. 10K review. You have a video. Yeah, I would just worry about the others. Well, the problem is with Enlighten. Enlighten's kind of weird because Enlighten lets you run an extra aura. Basically, like you won't be able to run all of these auras, and I don't know if he explains which are the most important auras. Like I can tell you right now, Grace is definitely like one you're gonna have. Like you probably drop Malevolence or not Malevolence. Like, wait, why is he running Grace and Determination? What? Don't you usually run one or the other? Like you probably don't run Discipline. Yeah, according to this, you run Grace, Determination, Herald of Ash, Discipline, Hatred with an Enlightened support gem. The Enlightened support gem is what allows you to run all on top of the extra stuff. The Enlightened one of the ones that you're not going to get for a long time. Yeah, welcome to Path of Exile. What level is it at? If it's just a regular one, it's not worth that much because it's not going to do anything for you. Like Empower and Enlightened, like basically need to be level 3 or level 4. Well, I think Empower needs to be level 4 for it to be any good, and those are expensive because you have to corrupt them. Yeah, no, that's not worth. Like that's dog shit. A level 3 corrupt is like he's selling that because he failed to make it level 4. Because the only way to get it to like you can level it to level 3 normally, and then you have to corrupt it to get it to level 4. 12 chaos. Honestly, it's not like super duper expensive, but I wouldn't really buy it right now, honestly. Chaos. I was gonna say, yeah, no, there's no way it's chaos. That's why I was asking. I was like, chaos? Like, like, are you sure? Like, yeah, no, like that shit's expensive. Like, that is end game stuff. Like, it is not cheap at all. Yeah, well, because like the guide, or in a properly written guide that uses Enlighten and Empower, it should say somewhere in there what to use until you can get those. Like he should like tell you somewhere in the guide these auras are important. If it doesn't, it's a shitty guide. Can't change my mind on that because that is kind of just standard when you make a guide. Period. Unless you specify in that guide not for beginners, then you kind of just shot yourself in the foot. But like I can tell you right now that Grace or Determination are definitely one that you run. I find it really weird that he runs both. Most builds, at least that I know of, you run one or the other. I don't think I've ever played a build that ran both. And then because you generally, because like the way it works is Grace is evasion, Determination is armor, and you usually stack one or like usually lean heavily towards one or the other with your passives. And so that's what you usually run the aura for. Determination is more common because it's a lot easier to stack armor than it is to stack evasion. So I find it really weird that he has both, which means one of those is probably like not one that you have to worry about running. It's fucking I don't know what is it with the like yeah, like my game just like lags out. Like my connection, it's not like it's like my connection to the server just like lags a bit. Sometimes it'll like teleport me back. Like for instance, that guy didn't take any damage because he wasn't standing there anymore, according to the server, but he was there for my screen. But spell that used armor? Spell that used armor or that gave you armor? Bro, and he has a herald? There's no fucking way. Bro, this is not like a build for like normal people. With yeah, no, but I don't know how to tell you this. I don't think that build's gonna be very good long term. No, Molten Shell gives you armor. It doesn't use armor, it gives you armor while it's active. As far as I know, I think the only skill in the game that uses your armor for damage is like Shield Crush. Actually, no, I think spectral shield throw. No, I think that's off of block. But a molten shell gives you armor. It gives you armor while it's active until it explodes or runs out. Even though it's not quite as good as it used to be. The reflect is not why you use it though. Like I can tell you that right now. Molten shell does shit for damage. Like it does not deal any damage. Like you use it because it gives you a shit ton of armor when it goes off. Like it's not a damage skill. It has damage in it because it deals like I'm saying the way it works is that based on I think it's based on your armor value, it gives you a shield and gives you more armor if I remember correctly while it's active. And then if the shield pops, it pops for however much like was active. It was active for something like that. Is the general gist of it. But that's not why you use it. It's not a damage skill. It's a skill you use to be like, oh shit, I might die to this molten shell. Which even then most people run with cast when damage taken support because it's there's not very many fights in the game where you need to like actively pay attention to when you pop it. But I have to sit down and read through that guide later. Cause like the fact that he's not giving any sort of, or at least like I don't know if it's just the max roll setup. Cause like I use PLB, I don't use max roll. I go to the YouTubes and I look for a build, and then I grab their PLB, and then I go and in the PLB it gives you like so much better stuff. The fan of knives. Yeah, I mean like there's the ethereal knives have always been a pretty there's plenty of builds for ethereal knives. Does it? I couldn't find it when I was looking through it. Send it to me, please. And I'm hoping that it at least has the leveling breakdowns. Fuck, I didn't mean to click that. I ruined my. Man, it really hates me. I've been farming this for like 2 hours and I still don't even have one of the two I need. Let's see if this is any better. It is just as dog shit as the guide. Like I'm gonna send you an example of a POV that is not complete doodle. Here, like this is what I could like say is an actual POV. When you open it, you'll see that under gear and gems, they'll have different tabs for like the levels, like what you expect to be using at those times as you go through, and the same thing for the for the passive trees at the bottom. That's what I was using for this character, but I don't really like this build. I'm using it to farm transfigured gems for something else I want. Yeah, yeah. Like, and I don't think that's a max roll thing. I think that's just whoever wrote that guide just like either didn't write it very well, or he has like some or something else where he explains it better, or it's just or he's just the type of person who doesn't really write guides for newer people. Because there's a lot of those in Path of Exile. Like there's a couple builds I follow that it's literally like here's my build and like this is how it works. And I kind of have to like figure it out on my own from there, but I've played the game enough that I can usually kind of figure out which way to go. I don't know. I have to like if you're having fun, I'd keep playing it, but I'd still look through it. Like I'll look through it and see if I can kind of make heads or tails of it about what you actually need to worry about. Because he has way too many auras. You cannot run as many auras as he has without like that specific setup of of like gems. Like he has way too. He has like six. No, he has like seven auras. because he runs Malevolence and Herald of Purity, which are auras, and he doesn't have Arrogance on any of them, which means you're running them off of your mana bar, which they're percentage based auras. So I have no idea how. Like, he expects you to run that many auras. Actually, I don't even know why the fuck you're running Herald of Purity in an elemental build, but you know, each their own, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming there's actually some like elemental damage in there, or like some physical damage in the actual skill cast itself. I don't know. I've never ran an Ethereal Knives build. I know it's pretty popular. At least there's always like a couple builds for it over like in each league. I mean, that doesn't matter. There's plenty of ways to convert physical to elemental. Like, there's literally a support gem for converting physical to lightning. Like, there's a full conversion uh cycle for it. It's just weird that he wants you running Anger Wrath with Herald of Purity on an Ignite build. Because generally, you like if you're running an Ignite build, you're just running like you're either running Trinity or fire damage. Usually, at least in the builds that I have played and seen. Converted to cold. Well, yeah, but you're also running like whatchamacallit. There's also supposed like in that like in what he's linking, he wants you running anger. Was it hatred or was it wrath? Yeah, anger, hatred, and then like it's just, it's a really weird setup for me. Like I've never seen a setup like that. Like I find it so weird. To be fair though, I don't play a lot of elementalist builds. Actually, I don't think I've ever played an elementalist build, so I don't know. Like the build I'm trying to get a transfigured gem for, the Mirage Arrow one of bombardment, is gonna be a necro. That'll be the first time I run a witch character. But like I'm assuming, well then I guess like what I'm assuming is that since it's added damage, because it's anger and hatred give you added damage based off of your physical percent. You're using Herald of Purity to then buff those two skills, but I feel like that's such a convoluted roundabout way of going about it. But that could just be the norm for elementalist builds, which explains why I don't run them. Well, no, I'll check through the guide like after stream or something and see if I can make heads or tails of it. Anger and hatred, what they do is they give you a percentage of your physical damage as elemental damage. So for anger, it's fire, and for hatred, it's cold. So essentially, what he's doing is you're not converting your damage from like physical, or like you might, I don't know. Basically, what he's doing is he's using Herald of Purity, which gives you a physical damage buff, to then give you more anger and hatred damage, because since you'll have more physical damage, both of those will give you more added damage for for having those higher numbers. It's just a slight problem because, well, first of all, it's an ignite build, so I'm assuming he's, well, actually no, because he's not using what should we call it, heat shiver. I don't know what the fuck he's doing with that build. That build feels weird. Look at it. I'm not like super duper, like I don't know much about Ethereal Knives builds. I never ran them. I'd have to like see. It's just that like the only reason I'm like really harping on the build is because it doesn't like give you enough information as like a newer player. Like uh it doesn't tell you what like chess piece to use instead of the unique chess piece it has. It doesn't tell you what to run until you get Empower. It doesn't tell you what auras are important to run until you get Enlighten support. Like at least like at face value. Like I'm assuming it's like locked into the guide thing. Like it's like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's written it in there somewhere. and that I just need to like sit down and read it later to figure it out. But oh, sick. I went to equipment and I went to body armor, and all it talks about is an upgrade path of unique to like it doesn't show you like a rare armor with what you should have like uh before you get the skin of the loyal. The skin of the loyal I'm taking from breach. You need to farm breach to get the divination cards for to get the skin of the loyal. The skin of the loyal, like I don't know if it's like sometimes it's cheap and sometimes it's expensive to buy. Because there's times I've seen it like super dirt cheap, even though like they've done no changes to it. It's just no build really uses it, so people don't care. And then other times I've seen it be super duper expensive just because a popular build uses it. I don't know. Like part of it's just I'm so used to just using the POB. Like, cause like Maxroll is I think they've only been 2 leagues now. I think this is either the second or the third league where they've been really like pushing like PoE guide content, but their guides, in my opinion, are in such a weird way that 140 chaos. I mean, like, no, not really. 140 chaos is like, I mean, it's probably cheap, but like, do you have 140 chaos, man? Because like, I think the amount of times I sit with having like 80 plus chaos is rare. Yeah, like cheap is like, is it cheap? Yeah, it more than likely is because as more people get more of them, it'll make it lower. Is it cheap for you? Like, probably not. Not to mention, like I was saying, like I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've had over 100 chaos because I use them a lot with crafting and like doing map stuff. Because chaos orbs get used a lot in Path of Exile, even outside of just crafting. Oh, this one's one of the annoying like trap layouts. I mean, it's not necessarily like, well, I mean, it is considered currency. Like, it is a currency uh of the because there's no like in PoE 1 there's no gold, right? Like it's just crafting mats, but crafting mats are used for everything, right? Like you use scrolls of wisdom and everything else to buy shit from vendors and stuff like that. You use alch orbs and chaos orbs and dive orbs and mares of Kalandra and stuff like that to buy stuff from other players. But you need chaos orbs for a lot of things. You'll need it for crafts on the crafting bench. You'll need it for sometimes just slamming a chaos orb yourself, just for trying to get something decent, just for stuff like that. If you want to like activate like a league mechanic that isn't like, you know, like an old mechanic that's not currently active or whatever in the loop, uh, or at least guarantee it, that costs chaos orbs depending on like what you're doing, like how much depends. Like chaos orbs gets used a lot You can make a lot of it too, but like for instance, usually like I don't know. I don't think I've ever gotten a character to a point where he doesn't need to use chaos orbs to like keep making equipment. So I think the most I'll usually have at one point is like 80 or so before he gets used some more. Yeah, gold is going to be in PoE too. A bit of a contentious topic, but from what I understand, I don't think it's used for trading. I think it's only used for vendors, if I remember correctly. Like trading should still be based on like the crafting stuff. Because it's kind of funny. Because apparently, like, well, actually, no, I remember div orbs back like weren't worth as much as they are, like, weren't considered as highly regarded in currency as they are now, which is really interesting to see. But yeah, PoE two has gold in it, and you can use it to buy from the vendors and stuff. To be honest, I only care about getting the mirror arrow of bombardment because the blink arrow one's not that big of a deal. I can get it later. Fuck again. They're the wrong ones. That's so annoying. Oh, I needed those to be flipped. I need those to be flipped. I need the blink arrow of prismatics. And then I need the or yeah, and then I need the mirror arrow of bombarding clones. That's why not make it actual currency? Because like inflation rate. And to add a bit of realism to it. Like there is no set currency in the realm of PoE. Seeing how we literally just topple an empire. One second, I'm trying to see. Probably gonna try farming this for a little bit more, and then if I can't get the mirror arrow, then we're just gonna take the blink arrow one and just roll with it. All right, so what mirror arrow and blink arrow do is they basically summon clones that use your bow and quiver. So for mirror arrow, what it does is like where you shoot, it'll spawn the clone, and that clone will then use like a skill. Like for instance, this one specifically is for bombarding. It'll use rain of arrows. And then for blink arrow, well, it's your move, it's your traversal ability. You'll use it to like move around, and when you like blink, I'm saying it leaves one at like where you were at. Yeah, yeah. So like basically once you blink, like where you were standing is where it'll put a clone, and then that clone will then use the ability. Technically, I want the mirror arrow one because the mirror arrow one I can just like put it near the boss and kind of just as I'm walking around and not having to worry about it. Because you want to have all your clones up. Yeah, that's the one I'm going to try. Like I've heard good things about it last league, and I never got around to farming for it. But this guy, I was hoping to at least get him into maps and do some mapping before like swapping over. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just that like I play too much melee stuff, and I'm just not used to just running around doing nothing. Like I think I'm just too dumb for this because I know like Righteous Fire is good. Like fucking Pox plays it all the time, and like the guide's like really well written out. I'm just dumb. Technically, there is another build like I want to do. I want to do the tornado. I got the tornado one, the new tornado transfigured gem, which I am interested in playing, but that one doesn't have any like the only one I've seen of someone who's planning to play it, like at least openly, was Steel Mage, and I don't think he has like his like what build he's planning on using out yet. And even then I'd rather wait till at least like a week or so in to see like what he says about it. Because if it's good, then I'll probably just make an Archmage build with it. But I mean, I want to get the Bama one, which the reason it's called Bama is because Blink Arrow, Mirror Arrow, and they just put together. I secretly think the person who put the name together is just a Roll Tide fan. So, but usually I leak start Bone Shatter, but I didn't leak start Bone Shatter this time because they did some changes to it, and I was too lazy to kind of just play it normally. And then the only other melee skill build that I was curious in, well, actually, the only other melee skill builds that I'm curious in are all transfigured gem versions. So I was like, well, shit, now I need a different one. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do Righteous Fire. And I have died more times in campaign on this character than I have ever died in campaign on any other character in the past, like, couple hundred hours of playing this game. And it wasn't even to bosses. Oh, actually, no, I think I died to Akali. Or what? The fucking spider boss. Because she was tormented, so she dealt more fucking damage. And just like one shot me with one of her chaos moves because I didn't react in time with my blink. Actually, I don't know if I can use blink. Suffering. Well, because like for instance, like the like so so like for instance, Arakali having the tormented thing where she summons little skeletons. That's new. They sprinkled in little like map mechanics throughout the campaign, and that's a new thing, right? Like the rituals in the little forest area, the stuff like that. The fact that like the dweller was an essence monster, like stuff like that, that's new. To kind of like quote unquote spice up the campaign. Which to be honest, like when it comes to like the ritual and stuff like that, I don't really mind. Putting an actual fucking boss monster and like making him an essence monster, in my opinion, is slightly annoying. Because to be honest, they also made him one of the more annoying like essence monster types, which is the cold one. Because getting chilled sucks, but it's still pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, we can get a mirror arrow of bombardment. Then I don't really get the prismatic one later. I always open these two because those are usually the ones that give me stuff. Kind of at half of this. But yeah, these are all the transfigured ones I've gotten so far. This is the one that I wanted to do on. I've heard this is really good, so that's why I grabbed it just in case. This was really good last league. I don't know if it still is. And then last rate of butchering, I just like because it looked cool. I used it last league. That was pretty fun. It was actually the build that I got the strongest and the farthest. Yeah, I mean that's basically how that's basically just one sentence description of Path of Exile. In all honesty, sounds interesting, but hard for new players. Yep, basically PO. That's literally that might as well be their slogan at this point. But I need to find a league starter that I actually like playing. That doesn't require transfigured gems. Like technically, I should have just been doing this grind at level 40 instead. It'll still be decently fast at level 40. Granted, I wouldn't just be able to stand here and just take a hit. But rogue marker, that is heist. If you right click the coin, it opens a portal for the harbor. Heist is a pretty interesting mechanic. I dabbled in it a little bit last one. Yeah, it's if you're gonna collect like the rogue locker stuff, then I would suggest doing that because once you do the introductory quest, it then gives you the the stuff to store the coins. Like it'll have its own thing outside of your stash. All right, I went too far. Yeah, like you straight up actually like you straight up plan heists. It's a pretty neat little system. And it's got these like these display cases and stuff that you can get into. You'll have this like all right, I went too far. Like basically like you'll plan a heist and then you'll have to have a character with a certain level of like skill involved, whether it's like lock picking, brute force, etc., etc. Um and then when you go and like just a regular one because it's got some pretty advanced like blueprint runs and stuff which I haven't gotten into, but like the basic one like when you're first starting out is you get these like heist plans and then you go and then you'll have this little bar at the bottom that that fills up as you like open stuff, so you always want to that as soon as you max the bar out it like sets the alarms off, so it means you always want to save. You don't want to set it off until you hit the like you get to the objective, but when you get to the objective it'll automatically like fill up the remainder of your bar, so basically you always try to like get as much as you can before doing it because you generally can't open things on your way out, like it just locks down all the stuff. So it's pretty cool and it has its own like they have this interesting system where instead of adding completely new uniques, they added like quote unquote replicas, which are alternate versions of uniques that are in the game. Like for instance, there is a replica Dream Feather, which is a sword that, if I'm mistaken, the regular version scales damage off of evasion, but the replica version scales damage off of armor, which is the main weapon for armor stacking builds. So and it's got little stuff like that. It's got like some weapons. There's like heist only bases, which I am mildly curious, like mildly interested in, because there's a couple like slam builds I've seen that require the heist bases, but I don't know what they plan on doing because a lot of the slam builds required for endgame getting a specific helmet that from like Shaper that now is only available to Uber Shaper, which they've now made even rarer to run, and that means that helmet's going to be incredibly expensive unless you can farm it yourself. And basically, like slam builds are just in a bad spot right now, and it makes me sad. Which is kind of funny because they used to be like super broken back in the day. Play with, yeah, as long as you're on the same like game type, right? So as long as you're both in the league and like, you know, like for instance, if both of us are soft core trade league, then you can play together. I don't know if solo self can play together, but I don't know. I'm assuming they can. Actually, no, it's solo self found. But yeah, no, solo self found can't. So, Mellow is literally in the name. Yeah, the contracts are what you run, like the low level ones. Yeah, if you're going to keep collecting those, like the smuggler's cash, then I would use the coin when you're in like a city, like when you're in one of the main cities. I would open the coin and go to the harbor and go do the intro quest so you can unlock the rogue locker, I think is what it's called. Which basically means you can then dump all the coins and stuff in there. And I don't have it unlocked yet, but when you do it, and this is really important, whenever you unlock these lockers, like the expedition locker, I need to grab the necropolis locker. Motherfucker, just... All right, so when you get one of these lockers, aside from putting it in your hideout, make it easier. One of the most important things you want to do is when you open the locker, is that you will see this little button down here, this little check mark, locker of affinity. Right, locker affinity. You see this little check mark? Click that check mark. Click that check mark. Because when you click this check mark, what it does is, so you see I have these exotic coins here? When you go to your stash, which you can always access from all the NPCs, you control left click automatically puts stuff, you know, from here to here. When I control left click those exotic coins, they automatically get put in this storage tab instead of taking up space in your stash tabs. No, once you go there, or no, I think you have to use a coin every time you want to go there. Actually, yeah, it only costs one coin. You'll have like thousands of them. Like you get so many of them. Like that'll never be a problem. Oh, that locker might just be a cosmetic stash. Like there's some stuff for that. Like for instance, my waypoint, right? It's a regular waypoint, it just looks different. But basically, whenever you get like a league specific locker, you always want to do the affinity so that way you don't have to constantly go to that locker to put stuff in it. It'll just automatically get put over there from your regular stash, and then it's not taking up space in your normal stash. If you have currency tabs and stuff like that, you can do the same thing. Oh yeah, the expedition locker. Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the ones that you can do the affinity on. Yeah, what's her face? Forget her name. But yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good for getting like uniques and stuff. Because you do indeed Gamba. Yeah, so, but that's expedition. There's 4 different like people it can be. And Gwenin? Yeah, Gwenin. That's I'm saying that's her name. She's one of them. You got her, you have Tujin, you have Raj, you have Denig. And they all have access to like different things. So like Gwenin is like gambling, so you know, you pick the base and then it'll like turn into anything from a blue to a unique using that base. Rog is technically quote unquote the crafting guy. Danig lets you convert, and then Tujin is the currency slash miscellaneous things. Like you can get div cards and shit from him. He's really good too. Last league, like my Tujin was kind of busted. He had so much good stuff early for a really good price that I was able to get. But yeah, the blowing stuff up is expedition. Pretty good like early league Atlas investment. Generally, if you see Tujin, Gwenin, and Rog, those are kind of like ones worth doing through the campaign. Danig is all right. He's nothing nutty, but he can be helpful because he lets you convert uh currency types, or at least like get more of a currency type. So like say that you want to do a lot of like Gwenin gambling, but for whatever reason they rare spawns. Not really, because like well I don't have it access yet, but when you get to the end game maps, you'll get another passive tree called the Atlas tree that and there you can basically spec your Atlas to make it where expedition is basically guaranteed to pop every map. The RNG part of it is which one you're gonna get. Because it cycles through all four of them. But like early on, actually no, even through the campaign, they usually pop up pretty often. At least for me, they do. And do Delve or Bestiary. Delve, for some weird reason, I don't know why, but Delve, like a lot of like early Atlas trees I saw that people were talking about using had Delve. A lot of Delve ones this league. Which I like Delve. Delve is pretty fun. Delve is also especially fun because the bear that I have running around, or that I had running around before I took all my MTXs off, because this character is gonna get shelled as soon as I get the skill I'm looking for. It replaces the minecart with my cave bear, which is really cool. Delve is fun. You can get a lot of good currency, and you can get like there are bosses and stuff, but there's a big but. Uh, to do pretty like you can get decent money from like pretty shallow delving, but in order to get like the good money and the bosses, you have to go pretty deep into delve, and that usually requires like pretty tanky builds. Like this league, I might do a delve build. Like there's a shield crush build I want to do. Actually, I need to see what Jorgen did for this league. If you're interested in delve, I'll look up. I'll try to refine it. There's a guy on. He's kind of known as like the delve person. Like he knows everything there is to know about delve, and he's like really good. Bro, I've gotten like these two so many times. Well, yeah, because it's like you're also not like at end game, right? Like you're not doing maps and stuff. Delve is Delve is like basically very end game to get in there. Like once you get to like if you have a decent build, once you've done like some white and yellow maps, you can usually do level 1 to 200 delves really easily. Yeah, I think it shows. I just entered delve. Yeah, there's you can get in there. You good? Oh, do I have to have it? I think I have to have him equipped. Yeah, see? It replaces the mining cart with the bear when I have the cosmetic equipped. And then if I don't have it equipped, it's just the mine cart. Best 30 bucks I've ever spent, baby. Unfortunately, the ring that came with it was kind of whatever, kind of doodle. I have a feeling I'm not gonna get transfigured. Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because sometimes they do these little side events, like when a league's going, where if you get to like level 60 or something, you're guaranteed a free MTX box. And I always do them when they pop up. Usually, like what they'll do is they'll do like 3 events, like back to back, and if you participate in 2 of them and reach the goal, you get the MTX box for free. And so I do that, and one of them is the entire leveling process is in Delve. Like you start in Delve, everything you do is in Delve, and it can be kind of rough at the beginning, but you can technically level in Delve, even though in the event you get more, like you get XP faster. But that was pretty fun. It does have some weird like kind of stuff to like figure out along the way. Like for instance, you can't just go all the way down Delve like in a straight line like you can on the higher levels. I think once you get into the almost like close to 200 range, you have to start looking for, basically there's these walls that you can blow up that will show you a path deeper into Delve. And honestly, I can't find those fucking walls to save my life. I'm just blind as fuck. I've seen so many pictures about what to look for, and everybody be like, "Yeah, it's just right here. It's really easy." And I'm just like, "Bro, I got nothing. I got nothing." One of the main reasons I don't do a whole lot of Delve, I still don't. Like my brain's just like, I was definitely slow because you died. Because you lose XP when you die. But no, it's definitely faster to go through the campaign than it is to do Delve. Because the Delve monsters are stronger than the campaign monsters. Yeah. I don't remember the exact breakpoints, but you lose and increase it. Like there's certain levels where you don't lose XP, and then I forget what, I think it's around like level 50 or 40 to 50, you start losing XP. And then as you get higher level, you lose more and more XP when you die. Like it's one of the reasons it's really hard to hit level 100. Because like at level 9, like like I think the highest level character I ever had was like 92, 93. Because when you die in the like the 90s, you lose like half of your XP bar. It sucks. Wait, did the? I don't think I think I went high too soon. But yeah, you lose XP when you die. It's not like super noticeable usually, like early on, like until you hit maps, because you generally don't die a shit ton early on for it to be noticeable. But if you're doing Delve and you're just constantly dying over and over again, then yeah, it's gonna set you back pretty far. Especially considering that XP is the more monsters you can kill in the less amount of time within, like, I think it's like 5 levels of you, the better. Obviously the stronger you can kill them, the better, but generally it becomes inefficient to fight monsters that are too high of a level for you. Fuck. Get back before this. But I don't remember the exact, I think it's around the 40s when you start losing level, like XP. Because it's usually around pretty close to like Act 5, Act 6, where that starts taking into effect. But it's really not that bad early on. That's also why when you get into mapping, like especially when you get into like past level like 85 and stuff, if you're anywhere near leveling up, like on average, people will generally like run lower, like slightly lower level maps until they level up. So that because like, if you die at like 0 XP, you don't de-level, right? You basically lose nothing. So a lot of times when you're gonna run like harder maps, or if you're gonna like trying to push like map tiers, like say you're trying to go from like yellow maps to red maps, and you don't know if your build can handle it, like most people generally try to like if they're like past the halfway point, they try to level up before doing it, so that way they don't lose all that XP. Same thing for when you try to do like the boss fights and stuff. Granted, it kind of just depends on the person, but like when you're like level 90 and like you just watch like fucking half your XP bar just disappear from a death, and then you're trying to kill this boss and you just die like 5 times, and it's just a sad, sad world. It's just a sad, sad world. Yeah. Yep. Points. Happened to me a lot because I forget to look at my XP bar before going and doing the invitations. But it's also generally why when you look at a build written by someone who actually like writes guides and plays Path of Exile a lot, most of those builds usually go up to like level 95 on average. Like some builds will have up to level 100 as a just in case if someone ever does take it up that high. But most builds usually they end at around 92 to 93 skill points because, well, first of all, usually most people don't even get that high. Like usually I get one character in the 90s, like one or two characters in 92, 93 because it takes a decent amount of playing and not dying constantly to get it to that level. But it's just really hard to get from 90 to 100 because you lose so much XP when you die, but then you need to do such high difficulty maps to get XP to make it worth. So that's why a lot of guides usually stop in the like early to mid 90 level range. And then the other reason why they don't is because if you're at level 100, 90% of the time what you need isn't like more passive points and like the regular tree, it's cluster jewel setups, which is a completely different story in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, it's just a case of paying attention to your XP bar when you're gonna do something nutty. Right, like for example, say like this was my level, right? Like say I was in level 69 and 92%. Say I was like level 89, right? At 92%, I would go run maps that I know confidently I can clear every time, but and get to level 90 before running any harder content that could potentially kill me because of the sheer amount of XP I'll lose. And then after I hit that 90 breakpoint, that's when I'll start running like harder content and stuff, just because I don't care. Because like the amount of XP that I'll lose is minimal compared to finding out like what I can and can't do and try to like push content. There's just little tricks like that you pick up as you play the game. I mean, it's just what comes with the game, though. It's not really that big of an issue. It might seem like crazy. It's just, I guess, it depends what kind of games you've played. But I'm saying like pretty much every Diablo-like game has that, where you lose XP on death. True, there's plenty of MMOs with that. At least there were. I don't know how many MMOs still have that nowadays, where you lose XP when you die. Oh, there's one I used to play that you could de-level if you died too much. That sucked. De-level, yeah. I mean, that's an old school like MMO system. There's not a lot of MMOs that do that nowadays. No, you can't de-level in Path of Exile. Like you'll just sit at like, so like if you have like 0 XP and you die, you just sit at 0 XP. You don't lose anything. I was talking about there are some MMOs I played that if you die, like you can de-level in those from dying too much. That's not really a common mechanic anymore. Bro, can I stop getting fucking mirror arrows of prismatic clones? Fucking please. I've gotten like 3 of those. It's really getting on my fucking nerves. Jesus Christ, is why the system sucks ass sometimes. Yeah, no, the only way you de-level is if you delete your game. If you're dying in Act 6, it's because your resistances are bad. You need to copy your resistances. Or at least get them like higher than 50. Because you take a hit your resistances every time you finish a part. So you're not gonna be able to have this because this is only really prevalent to like this build. But cap is 75 naturally. So like if you open your character tab and you go to defense and you look at your resistances, you can cap your elemental resistances at 75%. Yeah. So 30% when you're at like probably 45% before, because I think it's 15% from part one, like from part 1 to part 2, and then another 15% once you kill the last boss in part 2. You want to like basically what you want to do is you want to look at your all of your gear and anything that has a free suffix slot, you're going to go back to your hideout. You're going to go to your crafting bench, and then you're going to look at your resistances and you're going to put in resistances on your gear until it gets to around like 50-60%. Yeah, no, if it was around 30% before you went to part to Act 6, it's probably like 15% now. So like you need to be looking at your rings, your like all of your armor pieces, your necklace. All right, chaos, we kind of ignore chaos because chaos resistance is kind of hard to get early on. But basically, you want to like fire. You don't really care too much because 63% fire is good. Like it's fine. The reason you're dying is because there's a lot of cold damage in Act 6 because of the archers. So you want to go to your hideout and go to the crafting bench and craft as like craft at least like on your armor, like anywhere you have a free suffix slot in your gear that's not like your weapons. Like you're looking for, you just want to craft like cold, like a cold resistance, lightning resistance, and then see if you can get those up to like 60 also. And then from there you should be okay. You don't want to go too ham on it because you're going to replace that gear, right? But you want to at least put resistances on it. If anything, I'd try to put them on your accessories on how to craft. Yeah, I'll show you after this run. But you have to have your hideout unlocked. I don't know if you've done that yet. Basic crafting like that is extremely easy. It's very, very easy. Alright, yeah, if you have yours open, make sure you have, I think by default it comes with it, but I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long. It's been so long since I've had to unlock a hideout. But just make sure there's a crafting bench in there. I mean, I could literally walk you through it. Like, it's really not that hard for the initial, for just doing this. All you want to do, really, is just go to your, go to your hideout, go to the crafting bench, and then you want to hold the Alt key over any. Well, first of all, hopefully you have rare gear, which is the yellow gear. If you don't have yellow gear, then get some yellow gear. But you want to hold the Alt key over any armor piece or any item you have that's not like your weapons, that's yellow. And as long as it has an open suffix slot, so as long as it has less than 3. So, you know, whether it has 1 or 2, doesn't matter. If it has less than 3 suffix slots, you want to craft cold resistance and lightning resistance on those armor pieces, which all you have to do is you just have to take the armor, put it into the crafting bench, and then scroll down, and then basically minimize the prefix slot, and then in the suffix slot towards the top, you should have fire, cold, lightning resistance, and you just want to choose cold resistance, put that on one piece of gear. Pay attention to the currency price. That's how you know what to do. If it's like asking for alch orbs and you don't have a lot of alchemy orbs, then just do the one below that, and then put that on some pieces, and then put lightning resistance on a couple of other pieces, and that should get you enough to at least get you in like the 50s. And that's just how you handle crafting resistances early on. It's like nothing super complicated. Literally just look, open suffix slots, less than 3, yes, go craft. Just go put a resistance roll on it. Doesn't even matter how it rolls, just put it on there. Now be mindful that if the gear already has cold or lightning resistance on it, you'll then have to go for the multi-mod if you have it if you have that unlocked. But basically if you have less than 3 suffixes and then you see cold resistance like in red letters, it means you have cold resistance on that armor piece already, so you can just put lightning resistance instead. So you can just finagle it like that back and forth. And if you somehow have both and a free suffix slot, and then you can just put cold and lightning resistance. There's a multi-mod for that. But I don't know if you have that unlocked yet. I don't know when you get that in the story. But yeah, that's like the super bare basics for crafting. Crafting on like armor is, well, make sure like if you can't afford the one that it shows you, click on it, and there should be like it should have like, I think it's like you should have a cheaper option under it, and then just click that one instead. Well, I mean, as long as you've been grabbing the crafting things, which I'm assuming you should. Yeah, yeah. So just do the cheaper one. Doesn't really matter. You just want to put some resistance percentages up. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so if it's asking for alch orbs and that's the next level up, just choose the one under that. And then just put as much of cold and lightning resistance as you can on the gear that has slots for it, and just try to get it at least like 30-40%. If you can get it to 50-60%, that's even better. But 30-40% should at least, well, 40% should be pretty doable with just like 2 pieces. But that should definitely help your survivability a lot. Elemental resistances are extremely important. When you go into maps, you generally like basically when you go to kill the last boss for part 2, so like act 10, before you kill that boss, you want to make sure that all of your resistances are at least 75%, if not higher. And it'll tell you how much it is. Because like for instance on my character, right, I'm at like 200 fire resistance, lightning, cold, and lightning resistance. The parentheses shows my total. Now that's not active, right? Because it's capped at 80%. But for this build in specific, we want as much fire resistance as we can get. But yeah, so before you kill like the Act 10 boss, I think it is. Right. Yeah, before you kill the Act 10 boss, you want to like make sure like all of your resistances at minimum are 75%, because you're gonna take another 15% hit once you kill the the Act 10 boss. Which, to be fair, the easiest way to do it is just your rings. Like, your rings are really useful for that. You just get, like, the dual stone rings. 56% is good enough. Like, again, like, you're not gonna, like, hold on to those armor pieces for long, so it's just, you just have to make sure not to, like, stand still too much. As a big thing to, like, especially like for part two of PoE teaches you just don't stand still for too long. Well, did you also do the lightning res? Remember, you have to like get both of those higher up. That's why I was saying like 40% earlier. Because you'll want the lightning resistance too. Because you'll hit. Because like early on, you get a lot of cold resistance. When you get to prison, you get a lot of lightning damage. Like you're gonna find a lot of damage. Like you just want all of those elemental resistances as high as you can get them, and just be constantly on the lookout for rings and stuff that will increase that kind of stuff. Well, it's yeah. That's what I was trying to warn you earlier was to like do like two pieces of cold and like two pieces of lightning because in order to if you craft everything, in order to then change the craft, you need an orb of scouring, which is why I had mentioned like doing like two cold, two lightning, and then do like cold lightning as you needed them. Probably should have been a bit clearer on that, but it's okay. There's not a lot of lightning damage in like the first area of Act 6, so basically all I would do is like you know try to continue your Act 6 because like the point is that like if you're past the initial zones of Act 6, if you're getting towards the prison, that has a lot of lightning damage in there for the boss. So like what I would just do is I'd just run around like in some of the lower areas and try to like kill some mobs and see if you can get some, or even like do the necropolis thing. Just go into the necropolis and use your corpses to try to like roll some rings to see if you can get one that gives you some resistances, some better resistances than what you have. Yeah, no, for sure. It's like there's a lot if you've never played like a Diablo like game. Because generally all Diablo like games have like the same like core philosophy for defenses that you cap your resistances or at least get them to like a certain point. Because generally the end games are like the damage is kind of like designed around having at minimum like capped resistances before taking into account like armor and stuff like that. But I can't believe I've been running this for like 3 hours and I still don't have the fucking. Well, not that I don't have them. It's the fucking the whatchamacallit. The it just kept rolling the prismatic clone version instead of giving me the bombardment version that I wanted. D4, that was pretty easy to get. I mean, D4 still actually did. I don't remember D4. No, I don't think D4 had resistance. D3 did. Was Dove only single players? Well, I mean, I don't think so. There's no such thing as only single player. You can do campaign with in a party. People do it. People that like race for levels, like campaign in a party, because it's faster. Like the only thing that's single player is if you're playing solo self found. You can generally do everything in a party, as far as I'm aware. It's just most people generally only do the content in like solo because the whatchamacallit, the increase to monster strength usually tends to not be very fair, I guess you could say. Unless you like one of the other people you're playing with is an aura bot, aka someone who literally all they do is just exist to make your characters stronger. Shit, right. Well, yes and no. I mean, I think the current record for uh getting through the full campaign is like 4 hours, something like that. Like, there's just people that are just really good at leveling, but yeah, there's but that might be part of the reason why. But like for instance, especially the people you see who are like day one are like level 90, 95 or whatever, those are people who are leveling in a party. Like those are people who they're feeding XP into one person, right? Like so what they'll do is they'll have a build that like lowers the from what I understand the way it works is like the rest of the party is there to just keep this one dude alive and like uh get the monster so low health and then he kills everything so that way he gets all the XP. Kind of similar to how like magic find groups work. But yeah, that's why you see the levels really, really fast. But there are people that they just level really quickly. And now fun, I mean, like, fun is kind of relative to like every individual person. For them, that's fun. Like, they consider that enjoyable. Like, there's people that consider what I'm doing like mind numbingly boring. For me, I'm just like, it's just relaxing, turn my brain off, just do this. A little frustrating not being able to get what I've been wanting to get, but I'm kind of used to it just from MMOs. Like, if you were to ask me, am I having fun right now? I don't know if I'd classify this as fun, but I'm chilling. Like, am I enjoying my time spent doing this? Yeah, I don't really mind. Like, it's a grind I'd have to do anyway, right? So just sitting and chilling and just talking or doing stuff or like watching stuff while I'm doing this is an enjoyable time spent, in my opinion. Mm. All right, if this one doesn't give me the mirror arrow of bombarding, then we're just gonna take the blink arrow that we have and just start the Bama leveling off of that. And then once we get Bama up, like to this guy's level, they can come and like farm its mirror arrow that it wants. Actually, I don't even know if I should do that because like doing the blink arrow one is more dangerous than doing the mirror arrow one. Even though I'll probably just use both of them, but it just kind of sucks that like I've gotten the prismatic one so many times. Uh, buy the first blood pack if you're going to do that. The best way to, if you're going to spend money on this game, the best ways to do it is, I can't show you it, but like when you go to buy points, there should be like a first blood pack that you can get, and then buy a supporter pack. And then I would do that when there's a stash tab sale. Like on the weekends, they do a lot of sales, and you can get stash tabs for a pretty good price. But like to be honest, you don't really need to spend more than the first blood pack to get stash tabs to be normal. The only stash tabs um you really absolutely need, that like I would say, like if you're gonna play this game long term, is you need a currency tab, you need a map stash tab, and then you need a fragment stash tab. Like these three are like the three most important ones you need. And then you can get a divination stash tab if you want. Because the first blood pack I'm thinking also comes with stash tabs. Like it brings two of them when you buy it. But yeah, they'll discount the like they don't discount the like the package, like the coins, like the first blood pack will still be the same, but they'll discount the stash tab cost. Like and they run sales pretty often. You just have to wait for a stash tab sale. That's the best time to do it. And they usually do it pretty often in a new league, like in for the first couple of weeks. Yeah, like those three stash tabs plus the first blood pack, it would like honestly will is a really comfortable amount. For 200. Well, yeah, but like the reason why I say it's better to buy, for instance, a supporter pack is because the supporter pack, like, yeah, it costs $10 more, but you get like 30, the full value of money you spent in coins plus all the extra shit that comes with it. So, like, for instance, if you bought the solar supporter pack, you'd get the full value of coins plus a, well, the first three kind of suck, but then you get a weapon effect and the radiant orb of chance effect. And then there's the other option. There's like the Eldritch supporter pack, which is probably the better one, to be honest. Because that one, yeah, for 30 bucks, well, for 30 USD, you get a Mimic Stash pet, which you can be yourself, and then you get a Shaper Slam finisher effect while getting 300 coins. And then the first Blood pack is like, that should always just be what you buy first. Gives you the most bang for your buck. Like, it should be super cheap. I think that's like 15 USD or something like that. But yeah, like you should, like, honestly, like it's never really worth buying the like just the straight coin packs. Like that's the least value for your money. You should always go for the supporter packs first, even though they're only one-time purchases. But it's always like first blood pack, and then once you're done buying that, like you can then get like a supporter pack if you want, like the $30 one, whatever. Like see whichever pack has what you want for like cosmetics and stuff, because you could get the full value in coins from it. And then after you're done buying that, if you're high roller, you can then buy the coin packs if you want. But the coin packs are generally considered the worst things to get because you just get the coins, right? You don't get anything extra with it. Because that's what I had with the bear. And even then, I like, you honestly don't need to buy the supporter pack. Like, the only reason I even bought the supporter pack was because of the bear. Like, if it didn't have the bear pet, like, I wouldn't have bought it. Funny. Raccoon pet. Oh yeah, there is. Do not buy the rabbit pets before buying stashes, please, button. But to be honest, I would just buy the first blood pack supporter thing. Wait for a stash tab sale, buy the 3 stash tabs I told you, and then just play the game. And then if you find yourself like really enjoying it, then like spend more money. I had like probably 7 or 8, no, like less than that. I probably had like 500 hours in this game before I actually spent money on it for the first time. First blood. I mean, like you won't be able to. Whatchamacallit? I don't think you'll be able to afford very many stash tabs if you buy the bunny with the first blood stuff. Because the bunnies are actually pretty expensive. Like basically for let's see, for one of those rabbits, one of these rabbits is the equivalent to buying like 2 of the stash tabs that I told you about. Like one of those bunnies almost costs as much as getting the fragment stash tab and the currency stash tab, which are really important. Yeah, no, the cosmetics are pretty expensive in this game, which is why I don't buy them. Except for like the one that I bought one when it was because I had like coins left over and I was like, I'm not gonna use these on anything, so I'll just buy a cosmetic weapon thing when it goes on sale. And so that's why I have this like the divine weapon pack because it looks pretty cool. I mean, they go on sale too, but I'd really just wait for the stash tab sale, and then I'd just wait for a core supporter pack that has stuff you want on it. Like I'm kind of sad honestly because like so the bear core supporter pack had the bear plus the ring, and the ring only works on like demonic creatures. Like basically it shows you like basically beating their soul out of them, which kind of sucks because it's too much screen clutter and it kind of like flashbangs you on some of the boss fights when they're too big. Meanwhile, this one with the mimic pet, you get a rare effect finisher, which basically means when you kill a rare, I think it's like a rare unique enemy, it does a finisher effect. And it's just a giant fucking shaper slam, which is really cool. Like if I could take that shaper slam and trade it for the ring, I'd be all for it. But alas, of course they have to nerf the greatness of the cave bear with shitty ring. And then when it comes to like armors and stuff, like I just get the challenges or whatever comes out of my MTX boxes that I get for free from doing the events. The vampire looking effect. I mean, the first blood gives you a blood thingy. Like it does this. Like if you buy the first blood pack, you also get this. Puts this aura around your weapons. That comes in the first blood pack alongside everything else you get. Like the first blood pack is completely worth. Like if you want to spend money on Path of Exile, that's like the first purchase you should make. Like you get so much shit out of it. You get a weapon effect. You get I think it's like 2 stash tabs, and you get the currency. Like you get the coins. And then after that, the core supporter pack is probably the next best one. Because then you get a bunch of MTXs plus the full value of coins. Not getting too hit, yeah. Yeah, resistances play a very big deal. And like the other reason I was saying not to worry about getting to 75% is that the lower level the armor is, like it has a cap at how much resistance it could run. Like I think some of my other like some of my higher level characters have like 40% resistance rolls on one piece of armor. Like you'll get like 40% for one piece of armor. So it's like that's why I said don't worry too much about getting it to 75% off of this low of a level. Because generally at like higher level when you're in maps, you kind of just try to get your resistances off of your rings. Finally, holy shit. Took like 3 hours of farming, but we got it. Yeah, so these are the rings I was talking about. The two stone rings, right? Like this one has fire and lightning resistance. Just look for these and you like you identify them and you just hope that they have like extra resistances on them. Like generally, unless you're playing a build like Righteous Fire Chieftain, you don't really have a reason to go for like the singular resistance rings. Once they start dropping more often, like you're better off just going for the double resistance rings and then just trying to get one that has more like more resistances on it. So yeah, for instance, see like this one, it's like 14% fire lightning with 15% to all elemental resistances with 9% to cold resistance. If it didn't have the cast speed, I could then slap another one on there, and that would be a really good ring for part two. Mm, I don't think any of that. Yeah. Now I wish I had kept the fucking witch from that I used as a mule. Who's gonna get this witch into town? Then call it for stream. Then more than likely starting tomorrow is when we will start leveling her. Yeah, but being at 40% HP with the way you're talking, you're basically just needs away from dying. Actually, not even like Like, you know, a mob could exhale too loudly in your general direction. You just fall over. So can I get it? No. Don't touch me. Bro, this is so much easier when you're like not melee. When you're not one of the melee starters, this is like 10 times easier. Cool. What level do I need to be to use these? Level 10. Level 10. Yeah, that's fine. It wasn't too bad for this character. It'll be kind of nice though, because when we get enough in dexterity, I'll probably just use this until I get a better bow. Oh, actually, no, this is physical. Not bad. Not bad. Alright. So that will be it for the night stream. Tomorrow will be the day stream will be Path of Exile, and then the night stream will be Grand Blue for to kind of like spread my farming out a little bit because I still need to do the what should I call it? Grand Blue farming for some stuff. So we're gonna go say hi to Ringe. He's apexing. He's even more cringe because I saw him with a charge with the Mose Blam in hand. Yes, so we're gonna go say hello. So thank you everybody for watching. I do appreciate it. It was early day for you. Have a good day. It was late day for you as well. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. And I do see you again in the next one. Bye bye.